Gentlemen, ladies, Sandamtod here. Here's the dealio, mofos. Gonna do a community question instead of just doing responses. My community question is this: what are some of the most prized items in your collection? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a game. It doesn't have to be a console. It could be a peripheral, for all that goes. But something that you covet, something that you is high on your list. You know, as far as like maybe it's rare, maybe it's, just a game you really loved or you remember getting as a gift. You know, I'm not doing gifts. I'm doing stuff that I personally found out in the wild or bought off the internet my own self. But if you want to do gifts or something that are prized possessions, that's cool too. I've got quite a few here, and they're in no real order. And I do remember where I got most of them because they are those prized things, those things that kind of stick out as being extraordinary in my collection. But nothing's like the super unique. So we're going to get rolling because I do have quite a few things here. And let's see where we're going to start. Where I'm going to start is with this. The reason why this is a prized possession of mine is because when I was a kid, at Christmas, you know, you would get a stocking and you get things in it. Well, some people don't. Some people don't celebrate Christmas. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, we used to get stockings and we'd have little things in them. And one year, probably when I was about 8 or 9, I got one of these in my stocking. And it was a handheld video game. This is, if you want to call it that. It's a handheld game, basically. But it was this. It's not this one, but it was this exact model. I actually don't know what happened to my original, but I found this one probably 2 years ago up at the flea mart. A guy had it in his case for $15, and it just brought back a rush of memories when I saw it, being 8 or 9 years old and playing this thing down at my dad's house or whatever. And then I think I eventually ended up, I don't know, losing it somewhere or something. But anyway, it's a Mattel Electronics basketball. You may have seen this up on my shelf. This is truly if you want to consider this video game, the first video game that I owned was this little handheld basketball. It's basically, I don't have batteries in it because I don't play it, hardly at all, and I don't want to get corrosion on the pins or something leaving batteries in it when I'm not using it. So, but it's just got 5 little like red dots, and you're one man, and there's like 5 little dots up here. You basically have to drive right up under the basket and then press the blue button and to shoot it. It's almost impossible to make a basket unless you're right in front of it. So you have to like basically weave around the guys real quick and then hit the button. I don't know how you play 2-player. I'm assuming it's just score. But this was like the granddaddy, or maybe one of the very first things that I ever had that was kind of a video game. And for that price, for $15, it didn't come with a box or instructions, but just for the sheer fact that it is the first video game I ever had, I couldn't pass up buying it again. And it was, I actually did pass it up a couple times. I kept being like, well, there's some other stuff I want to get today, but if I come back and it's here the next time, I'll buy it then. And I let it slide like twice, and finally, like the third time, I went up there and it was still there. I was like, I'm buying this today because if I don't, I'm probably not going to ever get it. So I ended up buying it. And I'm glad I did. It does go on the shelf up there and doesn't do much other than collect dust, but it brings back a lot of memories just even looking at it. So, where to go next? I don't know where to go next. Well, let's go here. I bought this from the same guy. It's a guy that I used to call Duder up at the flea mart. I don't think his booth's in there anymore. He used to have a ton of video game stuff, but the guy priced like a video game retro store or something. I mean, the shit was kind of pricey, and it was like, dude, you're not selling, on the internet. You're selling at a flea market. So it's like, and you couldn't haggle with him because there's nobody there. It's not like you could go there and go, well, I'll give you $5 for it, and he wants $8, and he's like, all right, there's nobody there to haggle with. But at one point, he had quite a few Sega Master System games in his case, and a lot of them I had, a few of them I didn't. A couple of them I wish I would have bought from him, but I think he wanted like $8 or $9, and I just didn't want to pay that. Pink Panther sticks out in my mind as being one of the ones that I let slide that I wish I would have picked up. But this is the one that I saw when I very first went there that immediately drew my attention, and I actually passed on this once, and then the next time I came back, I bought it. The reason why I passed is because he wanted like $25. I think it was 24 something, like around $25. And it's a Sega Master System game. It's not like it was sealed or anything, but it's one of the rarer titles. And it seems like you see a lot of the same stuff, but you all may remember this if you've been around a while, but it is my copy of Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse for the Sega Master System. This is one of those rare ones in my mind, like the Sonic the Hedgehog for the Master System and a few others that are just kind of unicorns, they're hard to get a hold of. It is complete, and the actual label on the card is great. It's got a little bit of scuffing from where you can tell it was slid in and out of the system quite a bit, but they obviously kept it in the container. And like I said, $25. Sometimes I feel like I'm breaking my own rules, like maybe if it's not a deal, what I consider a deal, I feel like I'm wasting money or whatever. To me, it was money well spent, but it wasn't really a deal. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what you all think. I do like that it says new on it, like, okay. It says plays on Master System, Master System 2, Genesis with the power base converter. So you had 3 options. I've seen a Master System 2 a couple times, but I've never seen one actually in person. I've seen them online, pictures of them and stuff, but I've never seen a Master System 2. So that one I paid some money for, and I got it from the same guy. I got the basketball from Duder. And like I said, I don't think he's there anymore. He was always good for a thing here and there for me, but for the most part, I thought he overcharged for most of his stuff. Because of that, I don't think he was moving very much merchandise. So he was just like, I think I'll pull up stakes and go somewhere else. I was like, well. Mountain Dew. Do the do. I do have quite a few little software things here, but I'm trying to think of where to go next. That's internet. That's internet. Yeah. But okay, I'm stalling. I'm not stalling, but I'm burning time here. This is one I just got not too long ago, and I never thought I'd own a copy of this. I mean, for real, because I wasn't going to go online searching for it. This is just one of those wild games that walked in front of me, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like, it was there, it was in great shape, and there was no way I could pass it up, even though I thought I would never own it, and it was more expensive than most games I had bought to that date. I decided to go ahead and pony up, and you all know what it is probably. It's a Sega CD game. It's my copy of Snatcher. The quality on this is awesome. The case is a little dusty. It's got one little bitty crack on the back, but I thought about getting a new back, or maybe swap it out for one of those ones that I got that looks almost brand new, that wasn't cracked. But it was complete. And there's like no registration card, or I don't know if there's... Well, I mean, I think the registration card's in there. What I was saying is I don't think there's anything cut out of the instructions or anything. Yeah. There's like a registration card, and I actually kept the receipt, it looks like. I bought it October 24th of 2011, and it was $99.99. And for some reason, I bought a 3-button Sega Genesis controller for $3.99. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I would have bought a 3-button. And it's probably the 3-button controller I bought that has the turbo switches on it. That's the only one I could think of that I would buy a 3-button Genesis controller for. Get back in there. I'm trying to baby it. And then here's the disc, and like I said, it's pretty much flawless. There's a couple of very, like maybe a millimeter long little kind of scratch, very light surface scratch right there. I can tell they didn't resurface it, so it's in excellent shape. $100, but I never thought I'd have it in my collection, so to get it was almost unbelievable, you know. And it's one of those things, prices does it to me every time. These things that I'm showing you, it's like I feel like I'm not getting a deal on it, so I pass it up. And I passed up on the Mickey Mouse at least one time, maybe 2 times. I know I passed on that basketball a few times. And I actually passed on the Snatcher. I had went up there on like a Friday night, and it was in their case. And I went back, not Saturday, but Sunday afternoon, and I told myself, I was kicking myself all Saturday, but I couldn't go Saturday. I had stuff I had to do. And so Sunday, when I was able to get back over there, I was kicking myself that whole night, and the next day driving over there, I was like, it's probably gone, but if it's still there, I'm buying it. You know, and I got there, and it was still there, and I still was like not really wanting to pull the trigger, and finally I was just like, fuck it, you know, and I just bought it. I'm glad I did, but it was definitely kind of a hard pill to swallow at the time, because I'm not, you know, rolling in dough. Yeah, I have a pretty good sized collection, but I look for really good deals, and that's why lately I haven't been seeing the deals as much, so I've kind of slacked off on what I've been purchasing, so I can afford the things that I want more than just buying, you know, whatever because it's a good deal. So next item up for bids, well, we'll do this one. I know that this is kind of, I don't usually collect imports. It's not that I have anything against imports or anything. I do like to be able to read the screens, and I don't read Japanese, unfortunately, and I'm too lazy to learn. I know a lot of, like, you know, space shooters and different games, action games and stuff. You don't necessarily need to be able to read things, but I'm one of those people that is kind of like, I just want to, you know, I've always just pretty much stuck to buying, unless it's impossible to find, buying the American version. But imports have always intrigued me, and you may remember one time, I think it was out at the Vintage Stock in Liberty, they had a Super Mario 64 that was a Japanese import, with the box and everything, and I didn't buy it, and it's gone, and it went out of my hands. I actually physically held it and took it out of the box and looked at it and everything, passed on it, and of course it was gone the next time I went there. But this was one that as soon as I saw it in the case, I knew that I wanted it. And I think I used some Christmas funds that I had from a couple of people to buy it. Because I remembered, I think I paid the full boat on this. I paid like $50, but this was at the Vintage Stock in Independence. And it's a Japanese import. And like I said, I usually don't buy them, but it was there. It crossed my path. I didn't seek it out. And it is the game. You all may remember this. Most of you, if you've watched me for a while, all this stuff is familiar. But we're kind of just, reliving the past, so to speak. Since my last video, we were reliving my YouTube memories. I figured this would kind of relive some of my nostalgic memories of my most favorite, the items that I picked up over the years, my deals that I've gotten, or things that were given that were really, super sweet. But this is just me and the stuff that I happen to run across. It's this copy of Shenmue 2, the Japanese import. Now, this you can play it on a regular Sega Dreamcast if you have a boot disc or something. I played it on there. I stuck it in and started playing it, but everything's in Japanese. All of the subscreens, along with all the language and everything. And I know the PAL version they did English subtitles on. This is strictly the Japanese version, so they did not do subtitles, and it makes it almost impossible for me to be able to play this. I did download the PAL version, ROMs, and burned them onto CD, and I started playing Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast with the PAL version, which was a lot better because all the subscreens were in English and the language is still Japanese, but it was all subtitled, so it wasn't that hard to get into it. I'm not sure what some of this stuff is that came with it. Some of you may know more about the imports than I do. Here's the actual Shenmue 2 dual cart holder, and it's got the instruction booklet in great shape. Even the box sleeve is in pretty great shape. There's one little tear in the bottom right corner that I'm trying to not keep touching because I'm probably I keep touching it and I'm probably gonna end up screwing it up. Discs 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So, as far as I know, that's all the discs for Shenmue 2 and the instructions. But then it came with these other discs, and I think I touched on this when I got it, but I don't know. So if somebody knows what these are for, let me know. There's this one that says Virtua Fighter History VF4, and it was just in this clear case like this with no kind of artwork or anything. And then there was this other one that says Virtua Fighter 4 Passport, and then it had a backer that's in all Japanese, and then also another thing here. And I think I tried sticking these in, or I stuck them in, but I really didn't understand what they were. I know it's not another game, but I thought maybe it was like, I don't know, information on Virtua Fighter or something. Maybe some, since it said history, I thought maybe it was like not a demo disc, but something that maybe gave backstory and stuff to the characters. But it came just like this. And here's that corner I'm trying to avoid touching. But I paid $50 for it. It looks like the box has got a little bit of a fold on it. I think it was like that when I got it. I didn't step on it or anything. I mean, it's not creased all the way through, but it's kind of bowed, and it's definitely got a crease. line, but it's not a hard line like it was stepped on or something. So this is one of my prized possessions. It's one of my only imports. I have 2 or 3 other ones, and it's just stuff that came across me, my path. I keep saying that, but I have a Mega Drive columns over there that's for the actual Mega Drive instead of the Genesis. It does work on the Genesis. I don't know why, but it does. And I'm trying to think. I have Rez, a PAL version of Rez, that I think what it was is the guy that sold him the Shenmue also sold him some other Dreamcast, and he sold him Rez for the Dreamcast, the PAL version, and I picked it up first, and then I bought Shenmue the following week or something, because nobody bought it, probably because it was all Japanese, but that didn't deter me. And I think I have another Virtua Fighter something over there that I thought maybe went with that or something. But I don't know that I was even able to get it to come up on the system, thinking about it. This is going to be a super long-ass video unless I speed up here. What are you going to do? I talked about these a couple times, and the reason why I have talked about them a couple times is because they are some of my most prized possessions, and I got them for a song, so any chance I get to talk about these, I do. I remember buying these at the Lee Summit Vintage Stock, which is a store that ever since it opened, ever since the first or second time I went there, I pretty much bought some things when they very first opened, and then it seemed like every time I go to that store, they never have anything I want. It just seems like it's bare bones, except for their this gen stuff, and it's just kind of disappointing because it seems like a lot of the stores are kind of phasing out the older systems, or they're just not getting enough trade on people bringing the stuff in. But these were $1.99 a piece, and I don't know what idiot put them out on the shelf for $1.99, but I scooped them up as soon as I saw them, and that is the Atari game Halloween, with this funky wizard video game label on it, and it says number 7 at the bottom, 007 at the bottom underneath that, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is supposedly one of the first games where you actually play the villain chasing down the innocent people. But this one says number 008 underneath the logo. And I don't really know what that means. I'm kind of curious, I guess. So if anybody knows what those numbers mean, did they have 6 other games that they released before these that are not as sought after? I need to clean those out. Oh boy. Dusty. Cotton swab it. Yeah. Oh well. It's one of those things that I would clean it before I stick it in the system, but they've been sitting on a shelf over there. A few more pieces of software, and then I'm going to show you a couple pieces of hardware, and we'll get out of here. This is another thing that I got out at that Lee Summit store, and I'm trying to think whether I got them in the same purchase or not. I don't think so, but anyway, I don't usually collect sealed items. I know some people really go out of their way to, collect sealed items. I don't know, to me it's not a big deal. I'm one of those people that believe that, gosh, I don't know if I got a cat hair on my nose or what. I'm sorry I keep touching my nose, but it feels like I'm going to sneeze. I think I got freaking cat hair. Ugh. Excuse me. I don't usually collect sealed stuff. I have a few sealed items. This is one of them. And this is probably my least... this would be the one I'd be most likely to just open if I needed to. But, well, I take that back. You know, I probably wouldn't. But anyway, it's a peripheral. It's still sealed. It's got the H seal on the back. It's a Nintendo product. It's the NES Max controller, still sealed. You can see where it had a stick, like a price sticker there. And then it looks like they maybe, I don't know, somebody did put a magic marker mark over the UPC, but it's not on the box. It's on the actual on the saran, whatever, not saran wrap, shrink wrap, and it's got the H seal across the back, so you know it wasn't re-sealed. It's original. $20, I think, and that's what it went for originally. Back in the day, I remember, because I really wanted one, and I was like, $20? That's almost the cost of a game, because back then games were around $30-35, and I was like, man, you know, because I really wanted one. My cousin had one, and I never used the little disc in the middle. I always used the hard plastic black rim for the directional pad. But it was like one of the only Nintendo kind of licensed controllers that had turbo on it, other than the joystick, and I didn't really like using the joystick. I have two of these that aren't in package, so I left this one sealed. I'm not opposed to opening this up, but I have a feeling that if my other two quit working, I'd probably just order one off the internet or something, because they're like $6 or $7 usually used. But you know, I don't know. I'm, like I said, it's one of those that I'm kind of on the fence. I would probably open it, because I'm not a super, you know, one of those people that I'm like, it's blasphemy to open, you know, sealed games or sealed peripherals and stuff, but because that's what they were made for. You know, if you leave it sealed up, that's not what it was made for. It was made to be played or used. So I always think it's kind of funny, but I do have a few here and there, and most of them are because I already have a copy of it. I have a sealed copy of TNC Surf Designs for the NES that I got at the thrift store for $3, and it's still sealed and has the Walmart price tag and the hang tag on it. Actually, it's right there on the end of the row. And then I have a sealed copy of Taboo for the NES, and I think I got it for like $6 or something. It's that tarot reading card thing. But I bought it because it's got like a big map, like not a map, but some kind of fold out that tells you what the cards mean and all this stuff that I never had as a kid. You know, I think I rented it and we didn't have any of that crap, and it was like the biggest waste of money. And I still think the game's kind of screwy, but I think I have a loose cart copy of it, so I left the one sealed. And then that Max controller, I think I have two other 3DO games that are sealed. I have a copy of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo that's sealed, because the first one I bought wasn't sealed and the box was a little more work than I wanted it to be, and then one came up for sale sealed for cheaper, I think, than what I paid for the other one that was open box, and I was like, I can't pass it up, and so I ended up with that. And I think I also have a copy of this game called Shadow Warriors of Succession or something, which is a horrible fighting game. I burned off a copy of the ROM and played it, or have played it, and just left the game sealed because I really didn't see the benefit of unsealing it, and I got it for like $6.99 brand new. Now, on the flip side of that, I bought Psychic Detective for the 3DO, brand new, sealed, and I opened it. And this one also is a 3DO game that I bought that was brand new and sealed. And I've seen this sucker going for outrageous price, and it's crazy because back in the day, Sega CD packaged this game, especially with the Model 2 Sega CD, in every package, and it was this game here, Sewer Shark. This is my 3DO Sewer Shark. I got this for, I think, $24 or something. It's got a little bit of scratching on the front, and this edge is a little bitty bit crushed. But I would rate it, like a 7 or 8 out of 10 as far as like condition, and it was still sealed, and it was like $25. I've seen this game online recently because I was looking for a black box version of Sewer Shark from my Sega CD. I've seen this game as recently as a couple of weeks ago going for $120. Open box. I mean, he says it's new, but he says it's not in the shrink wrap, so how new is it? You don't know. There was another guy just selling the disc for like $60 or something, and this was just one of those cases where I knew I really wanted it. I kind of was keeping track of it, and I saw a guy put up a copy, and I asked him, I grilled the guy, I sent him 2 or 3 emails before I bought it. I said, now, it for sure is the 3DO version, right? It's not the Sega CD version. This is when I was really looking for this, and not the black box. Probably if he would have said it was Sega CD version, I would have bought it anyway. But he's like, no, it has the 3DO logo on the front of the box. And I was like, and it's a tall, box, like rectangle tall. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it. And this was one of those that, like I said, it's going for like some crazy price, and the guy puts on there that's wanting $120. He's like, ultra rare, and I'm like, how do you know it's ultra rare? I mean, are you just kind of throwing that on there to get people to think that you can charge them through the nose for it? I mean, really. But there's the disc. I did a gameplay on this. It's probably in my gameplays playlist. I used to keep track of my playlists a little better than I have recently, so I need to go in and put stuff where it goes. Hey, and it actually came with one of these, like, temporary tattoos for the Digital Pictures logo. That's pretty funny. I want a temporary tattoo. I'm one of those people, I love tattoo artwork, and I'm always really excited to see people that have tattoos and things, but I've just never gotten one, and it's not because I'm adverse to the pain of it or anything like that. I never decided. I'm one of those people that can never make up their mind, and I decided that if I was going to get one, I was going to design my own tattoo, being an artist, a graphic artist, and I used to do sketches and things, but I just never came up with anything that I was satisfied with enough to say, hey, I'm going to put that down on my skin. But I still think it's awesome. But I guess you'd have to put me in more of the temporary tattoo arena. Let me see. We're getting there. This is taking a little bit, but we're getting there. This is another one that I'm glad to have. This isn't my original, but it's one of those that when I found a copy of it, I couldn't resist buying it again. I think I gave my original. This is the first game I bought for the PlayStation 1. But I think I gave my original to a family member or something, and then later on I was like, man, I wish I had that long box version still. It's Resident Evil long box, and it's in pretty good shape. This edge, you can see a little bit of white showing through just from where it's, and there's like scuff marks kind of here just from sliding it on a table or whatever, but they're not horrible. And it is complete. It does not have the foam, but it does have all the teeth on the logo, and then you have your art on the inside where the the lab is where you run around and try to kill. It's not the Nemesis. What is he in the first game? I don't remember. Ah, well, it's not coming to me. Been a while since I played Resident Evil 1. But I think I paid like $20 for this or something. But I was happy to have a long box version. I also have the director's cut, which is kind of unique. They don't really do things like that anymore. I think they were just trying to double dip on the Resident Evil, which doesn't surprise me with Capcom, but basically, you know, the director's cut was just a version where they moved a bunch of the items around in the house to make it feel like a little bit of a different experience, but really it's not much of a difference in the gameplay. But on the director's cut disc is also the original version, so when I bought that, I gave my one over to somebody else, and forever regretted it. Not forever, but after a while I wanted it back. Let me see, one more game, and then we got some systems to show, and we'll be out of here. I know you all are dying to get out of here. Shit, I'm dying to get out of here. This game was one that I can't say enough about. This one basically kind of defines my experience with the Nintendo to the point where I really wanted one. I mean, I always wanted one from the second my cousin used to live up in Iowa. He brought his down, and he had 4 or 5 games for it. I've told this story a couple times, but he was just coming down to stay for a week or two, but he brought his Nintendo with him, and I'd never heard of him. A Nintendo, a home entertainment, you know, like the Nintendo. At that point, you know, I didn't even know what he was talking about. I had a Pong machine, and I knew, like, my grandma, I think, had an Atari 2600, if you can believe that, mainly for the grandkids when they came over there. But I didn't have anything. I had my little Frogger machine that's up there, my little mini arcade, and, you know, I had a couple, you know, like I said, a Pong machine and stuff, but, you know, I didn't have a Nintendo or any way to even know that Nintendo existed, you know. And he brought that down, and he didn't have a gun, you know, like a light gun or anything, but he had the system, and he had Rygar, Super Mario Brothers, Pro Wrestling, Commando, and I'm always fuzzy, but he had 5 games, and this 5th one is not the one that I'm getting ready to show you, but some makes me think it was like, I can't even say. I know he had 5 games for it though. I always forget maybe it's because maybe it was like a sports game or something. I didn't really care, but he hooked me on wanting a Nintendo, and then I think he I'm trying to remember. I think he had to go back up to Iowa for like 2 months because he was in 4-H and things like that, and I think he won some prize money in 4-H and stuff, and he had bought some more games, and he came back down, and he had Metroid, and that's what I have here. This game here is one of my all-time favorites. Some people have never even played it, and I understand. You know, it's one of those games that you do a little bit of backtracking and stuff, but the world was so big in this game. I even thought this game's world, size-wise, dwarfed like Zelda. I mean, to me, Zelda and Metroid were 2 of the biggest, you know, games back in the day. And I remember playing it and really wanting it, and when I got my Nintendo months later, probably almost a full year later of saving money and stuff, because my mom was like, I'm not buying you one of those, it's a waste of money, da 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 da. So I would buy games or trade with friends, sometimes permanently, but I would also buy games from people if they were wanting to sell them or whatever. And I ended up buying Metroid from a kid at school for $10. And I know my original because it's actually got some initials scratched in the back of it. This is not my original cartridge, but it's a 5-screw no-clip Metroid cart. I think I put that in there. I don't think it's the one that came in here. It's got a Nintendo sleeve. It's got the instruction booklet, which is nice and crispy. This thing has no folds on it at all, and it's in full color. And I think I paid around $30 for this. And I had it on my radar for a long time. I was looking for a box copy, and people were wanting $59, $69, $79. Finally, somebody put it on there for, I think it was around $25 or something. And I remember asking them a few questions, like, does it have the instruction book and the box, and and stuff, and they were like, yeah, it's complete and everything, and I bought it from them, and I was really pleasantly surprised at the condition. The box has never been crushed. It's never even had a little bit of a bow to it. The actual top flap is still pretty stiff as far as folding it out. It does have the styrofoam in the bottom. The only thing this is missing is the bag with the hole in it. If y'all remember when you would get Nintendo games back in the day, when you would open it up, it would be shrink wrap, but when you would open it up, it would be in a baggie, like a bag, thicker than a baggie, but a plastic bag, and it would have a hole in the middle. I don't know why. And the instructions and everything would be inside that bag, and then it would be folded over and like taped, and then that would be put into the box. A couple of games I do have that bag, and I think I might try to steal it from one of those and put it on my Metroid game, because this is one of my prized Nintendo games out of all that I have over there. As far as the shape it's in and everything, and just the fact that I never thought I'd own a boxed copy for a reasonable price. And because of that, I just didn't think I was gonna ever have one. So I was stoked when I found it, and I'm still glad to have it. This shrink wrap is from a different game. I took it off of a vintage stock game when it was shrink wrapped, and I just slid it on this to help take care of this a little better. Okay, we're done with that. I don't know how long that took. I think the video is still running. Oh goodness, I don't know if it's still running, but I'm going to keep going. I can't tell if it's still running. Let's see. Gall darn it. My other camera used to flip around. Yeah, it's still running. Hey. You guys are still there. Yay! I don't know how long this video is going. Okay, 3 things left, and then we'll get out of here. First things first, this system. I didn't really know that this was a little more unusual than normal. I did know when I saw it that it didn't look like the other systems I had seen in the past, but the guy at the thrift store tipped me off when I bought my Genesis Model 3 in the box. He told me that they had this system that was going to be coming out of pawn, and that they were going to be putting it up for sale. And he told me something that I found interesting was the people that work in the pawn shop, when stuff that comes off pawn at least back then, it was a couple years ago, when stuff would come off a pawn, the people that worked there had to wait 2 weeks before they were allowed to buy it. I don't know why that was company policy or whatever, but that guy clued me in on that. So when he told me that this was coming up for sale, he told me that it came with all these games and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm going to probably come up and buy it. Buy it. I didn't say that to him, but when I left, that was the idea I had. When I went back, the day he said it was going on off pawn or on the shelf, I bought it that day. I paid basically $50 for the system, and then I paid another $24 or something for the cartridges, but I think they charged me like 50 cents a cartridge or something, so I got like 50 games with it or something. For like around $80. And you all may remember it. It's like my third or fourth video I did. I showed this, but we'll revisit it, and I'm still kind of thrilled to have this. It's a Telegames, the Sears Telegames Heavy Sixer. I didn't know what a Heavy Sixer was, to be honest, when I went and bought this thing. But when I went online and started looking, because it said Telegames on it instead of Atari. It says Atari one spot on here. The Atari logo is not on it anywhere. And on the very bottom it says manufactured for Sears and Roebuck by Atari Incorporated, Sunnyvale, California. And that's the only place that ever says Atari on this thing. But it's got your rounded corners, your thick edge, the 6 switches on top. So the Telegames Heavy Sixer, if I was going to have an Atari, I'm glad it's this one, because I don't play Atari that often. And really the only other system that I have that kind of goes back to around when the Atari was out is the Odyssey 2. And I really only have 4 or 5 games for it, but it has the original, like I said, sticker here that tells the information that it was made in Sunnyvale, California, and all the switches work and everything. TV type, black and white and color. That's awesome. It even came with the box to the TV with the switch and everything, but I just have one of those little direct connector things. I have another one over here. One of these little direct connector things where you can just connect it right in there. That one is pretty exciting, but it's still third on my list of surprise consoles. This one is second, and this one kind of is actually tied for first in a way, but we're going to do it second. And that is the, I don't know when I got this, a little while back, but it's a Nintendo console. It is my deluxe set in the box that I got out of the Liberty Vintage Stock. The box is empty because I set it over there so I could show the system. But I paid $125 for this. And of course, the only 2 games that Rob works with are Gyromite and Stack Up. And, Stack Up's like harder than freaking a dinosaur turd to find. Complete or in any kind of condition. I remember seeing one loose copy of Stack Up at one of the vintage stocks, and they didn't have any of the pieces that go with it. They didn't have any of the little stackers or anything. And I was like, what's the point of that? And they wanted like $20 for the cartridge, and it didn't have anything with it. But let's go ahead and show the system real quick. Well, I've showed it once before, but there's Rob and the console, and then Rob's little platform that he puts the gyros on. The gyros are in there. right down there, and then that's the spinner for the gyros, and then it's got 2 regular controllers in there, the RF and the zapper gun, the gray zapper gun, not the orange one that it later became. And then there's actually gyro and duck hunt and instruction booklets in there, and sleeves, but they don't have the boxes. Now, I saw a video recently that Gamester81 did showing his Rob the Robot and Deluxe set, and his had the boxed games. Now, I do have Duck Hunt and Gyromite in the box up there, but I'm not going to put them inside this box. I'd rather have them on the shelf. So, anyway, this is running number 2. Like I said, I paid $125 for it. I guess back in the day it retailed for $199.99, but with the cost of inflation, I learned this from Gamester81's channel. For the cost of inflation, this thing was $429 retail, or would be today when it came out. Back then it was $199. No wonder my mom thought it was a waste of money. But this video's slowly creeping toward an hour, so I'm going to try to get you out of here before that happens. Your videos have to in no way be this long. Mine is, because I've got a lot of items that I'm just like are my favorites. I can't pick favorites. But this, well, I take that back because I am picking a favorite. This has got to be my favorite. When I bought a Sega back in the day, I got a Model 2. That was my original system. And actually, to tell you the truth, the Model 2 Genesis that is hooked up to that Model 2 Sega CD is the first system that I have that I know is my original. From when I was like 19, or I guess I would have been 18. My Nintendo, it's lost to the ages. I don't know what happened to my original one. And I've got 4 or 5 of them now, the toaster models and one of the top loaders. So, I don't know what happened to it. My Super Nintendo shit out on me probably 10 years ago. I remember I wanted to play some Killer Instinct, and I went to hook it up, and I kept it in the box and everything, because I still have my original Super Nintendo box and everything. But when I went to hook it up, I tried using the audio-video cords, and I was getting the sound sporadically, and the picture was just frozen like color bars. Or not bars, but the color on the screen was a solid color, and then it would change to a different color, and then a different color, and a different color. I tried the RF thing. I tried a couple different hookups, and it something happened. I don't know what happened, but it just shit out. Well, that's my definition. And so, I bought a new one. Not a new one, a used one at Game Exchange before they went out of business. I think for $39 or something, but it came with all the hookups and everything. But I didn't need anything but the deck. And so that's gone. So, I mean, the first system that I know that is original to me is that Sega. And then my original PlayStation 2 is gone. It started fucking up. It was one of the big ones. It started screwing up. It wouldn't read the blue discs, the ones that had the blue back on them, and then it wouldn't read the PlayStation 1 discs, and then after a while, it just seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like it was getting worse, and I was just like, I'm gonna and I bought a Slim, and that sucker, I liked it, but it was one of the very first models of the Slim, and it got super hot, and I didn't dig it. And I ended up finding a PlayStation 2 I think at the family store for like $10.99 or something, and that's the one that I still have over here, and it's worked like gangbusters ever since I got it. I've got one other chunky one in there, big one, and then I have my small black PS2, and then I have that silver PS2 Slim that I got. Something makes me think I had not something makes me think. I sent Wasp Spray on a trade, another PS2 that I had picked up. So I originally had 3 of them. I have the big ones, and now I have 2 and 2 small ones. But this is way off point, and now I'm probably over an hour. Anyway, the Genesis Model 2 was the first one I remember being like, this system is, and the one that I had always wanted. I was so pissed off at Nintendo, with the 8-bit Nintendo, how shitty it just didn't work most of the time. The pins would get corroded or bent or whatever, and when you were younger, you really didn't know what the problem was, and and they didn't provide replacement parts. They didn't provide a new pin detector, or connector, not protector, or whatever I said. They wanted you to send it in or something to get it fixed, and it was just a pain in the ass. So when Nintendo, when the Genesis came out, I was like, that's my new system, that's my new baby. And I wanted a Model 1. My cousin had a Model 1 and stuff, and I was fully stoked to get a Model 1. And they released the Model 2, I think, a couple of months before I bought mine, and they had pretty much phased out the Model 1, so as far as selling them. So I got into the Model 2 wave, but I always loved the Model 1 and the Model 1 Sega CD, and that's what I'm going to show you. This is my favorite, my precious, my most coveted item in my collection. It is my dust collector on the shelf. It does work. My Sega CD Model 1 with Genesis, and I have my power base converter on it. So this system right here will single-handedly play Sega Master System cartridges and card games. It'll play the Genesis games, and it'll play the Sega CD games. And I also have a 32X, but I don't think there's any room for that sucker on here. This works great. I was telling Vampire Mike over at Sega CD Universe, for some reason it doesn't want to play Mortal Kombat for the Sega CD, my version of Mortal Kombat. Now, it's not scratched up. It plays fine on my Model 2. But when the Model 1 goes to boot it up, it reads it, but it never, kicks into the game. And every other game I've ever stuck in this Model 1 has worked fine. Has worked perfectly, except for that Mortal Kombat. And I've never wanted to, buy a second Mortal Kombat just to see if it would work. Because the game looks fine on the system, or on the TV, and on that Model 2, so I'm just like, I don't know what the problem is, but for some reason I've always loved the technology, the front loader tray, and the lights here. This lights up green and red for accessing and ready. There's a lock on the side to lock the tray shut. And I don't know, it's like retro futuristic, and I love it, even though it's dusty. I'm done talking, folks. That's it. I'm done. I love to converse with y'all, and I'd like to see some videos about this. Yours doesn't have to be a fucking hour long like this, but take 10 minutes and show me a few things in your collection that are your precious, your coveted, your most favorite items. And like I said, they don't have to be rare. They don't have to be expensive. A couple of those things I don't think are super rare. I mean, a copy of Resident Evil in the long box, or, even Metroid in the box is not super rare, It seems like finding a Sega CD Model 1 in working. No, I'm not giving you the finger, folks. It seems like finding a Sega CD Model 1 in working condition sometimes can be a little bit of a bear depending on where you live in the United States. I remember I was keeping track pretty close on Amazon of all the Sega CDs that were coming across there. And when this guy posted that he had a Model 1, because it seemed like anytime the Model 1s were posted, they were posted as not currently working or something. And this guy posted that it worked, it had been tested, cleaned, everything. I contacted the guy, asked him about it. The power base converter did not come on this. I bought the power base converter separately for, I think, $12.99 or something. The only thing that it doesn't have is there's like a little, some kind of little screw. I think it's a plastic screw thing or something that actually screws into the back of the Genesis. But you don't need that. It just helps hold it on there. This little sticker is just barely peeling up on the bottom of the Model 1. And actually, I think I can tack that back down. And then we have the Genesis with the high-definition graphics. Supposedly, it's got a little better sound than the ones that don't say high-definition graphics on them. I remember some guys doing some tests and stuff, and it seemed to me that it did have a little better sound. A lot of guys have done mods on their Genesis for the stereo because it comes out stereo in the headphones, but mono through the cord. So they did a mod where they, made it stereo or whatever. But I'm not comfortable doing that kind of thing. But anyway, folks, like I said, thanks for coming by and putting up with this bullshit. Shoot me your response videos. Even if it's just one thing or whatever, I'd like to actually see them, see what you're talking about. If you can't and you just want to post comments, please post comments because I'd like to know what are some of your favorite things. But I'd really enjoy to see them too. So thanks for coming by, and as always, I'll try to get something together soon, very soon. Actually, I'm getting this together, so that is pretty soon. We're going to sign off, folks. Thanks for coming by. Talk to you later. Bye.